Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? All right, that's cool. Wow, it's been a long time since I last live stream. So, yeah, nothing has changed much. Still stuck in my country, not going anywhere. I hope all of you are doing okay and healthy and safe. Yep, so today I'm drawing the character from The World Ends With You. So enjoy yourself and yeah, just chill. Nothing serious. Yeah, just chill. Nothing serious. Okay, let's go. By the way, I'm streaming on uh, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So you can choose to watch whichever channel you like. There won't be any music. So if you want to listen to music while watching me draw, just play your own, all right? And for those who just came in, welcome. And I will try to catch some of your questions. I'll try, all right? He must really love what he does. Yes, I do. I love to draw. I was almost being pulled away by the new Battlefield games. They had some kind of beta testing over the weekends, and I was almost decided to drop a little bit of my Arttrober for the sake of the game, but I did not eventually. Yeah. Someone asked me about the tips of controlling the brush pen. Yep, it's a very I would say difficult brush to master, especially if you have no experience in using that at all. To me, I was fortunate enough to be able to use this because I was trained in Chinese calligraphy. So I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. The crazy thing about using the brush pen is that the stroke varies so much. You can do something like really fine lines to something like really big and bold brush. And you can travel slow to get a solid line, or you can travel fast to get some like dry brush effect. So there's a lot of variables when it comes to this brush. You really have to take time to practice and get comfortable with it. Yeah. Which character I'm drawing? I'm drawing this character from The World Ends With You. Her name is called Shiki Misaki. They just released a new game. I mean, a release of a remaster. So some of you may be familiar with it. Do I always start with the eyes? Yes, I do. I always think that the eyes are really the most important part of the face. So if I screw up the eyes, I don't need to carry on anymore. There's no point doing so. So let's get it over and done with, make it well, and that will motivate me to finish the entire piece. Have I watched Squid Game? Of course, I do. And I love it. Hello, everyone who just joined in. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope this stream won't take too long. Do I have any plan on uploading new digital drawing video on YouTube? Maybe, yeah. To be honest, with the lack of traveling and getting out of the country, I feel less motivated in a sense. You know, you feel the sense of stuck, being stuck. I don't know how many of you feel this way too. It's okay. We do what we need to do to keep it going. Do I ever feel that my drawing is not good enough? Well, I do doubt my art sometimes, but I don't take it very seriously. But I do evaluate them on a regular basis. Like, how should I improve it? What can I do? What should I have done to make it look better? I think it's really important to take time to evaluate your work. Even you make some mistake, if you create a piece that is not as ideal as you want it to be, at least make use of it by learning something from it. Even when you did something right, don't just brush it off and say, "Oh, this just some happy accident." No, no, there's no happy accidents in art. The reason why you feel happy because you have done something right. That's why you feel happy, right? So you need to learn, need to figure out what makes it good, like what makes you happy about it. What have you done right? Have I ever visited Mexico? Yes, quite a few times actually. I visited the Mexico City for the what's the name of the convention? I can't remember. The big one. I also went to Querétaro for some art event as well. So I've been there a few times. I visited the pyramid. It was pretty cool. Man, can't wait to go back. La Mole, that's right. Do I play Genshin Impact myself? No, I don't. To be honest, I really don't have much time to play game. And I always think that drawing is more fun than playing game. How important do I value the rule of thirds when planning for my art? Not much. I don't think it's even a rule to begin with. I think that's something that you need to consider uh, just to make sure that you don't make something look a little too stiff at times. But sometimes you really want to have the stiffness, the symmetrical composition, which it doesn't fall into the rule of thirds. So I always tell my students it's not really the rule of thirds, but the consideration of thirds. Just to see if you are going to draw something that is symmetrical for a reason, or if not, does that mean that offset the character to a certain angle will make the image look better? So that's something you need to consider case by case basis. Same thing for the golden spiral. Those ideas? Those are something that you can consider. It's definitely not some kind of rule that you need to follow for every piece of work. Well, you've been following me for 13 years. Wow, that made me look old, you know. You're gonna show the coloring too? Yes, I'm going to finish this entire piece if you don't mind me, or you don't mind watching me for such a long, maybe 2 or 3 hours. I'm more than happy to do so. Thank you for your compliment. As you can see that I usually try to ink from the top to bottom, right to left, roughly. Just don't want to rub anything against, rub the ink against my hand since I'm a right-hander. You're the best. You're the best artist I know. Oh, that's so sweet of you. How do you usually deal with art block? Yeah, I think I answered that multiple times, but let me recap. It really depends on what kind of art block that you're facing. Usually, I identify that as two kinds. The first one is that you don't know what to draw. You just don't have idea what to draw. So you're stuck in a sense. The second kind of art block is something like you know what to draw, but you just cannot draw it. That means you know the idea to draw, but your skill just did not. I was not able to match up with your idea. So the first kind of upload, which means that when you don't have any idea what to draw, remember to consolidate or gather your idea on a regular basis. Don't start thinking about what to draw when you're in front of the computer or when you open up a sketchbook. Try to collect ideas even though when you are not drawing. So and always keep a little notebook or sketchbook with you. So when you have certain idea or there's some inspiration that you have, try to record it, write it down, do a little thumbnail sketch, doodle, so that next time when you really have time to draw, you can just open up that book and there you go, and you have enough ideas to play with. But for the second kind of art block, when you know what to draw, you just can't seem to make it happen. So that's mostly due to your fundamentals. That means your idea may be a bit too advanced for you at this point of time. So you may want to go back to your fundamentals and train yourself up a little bit more about lighting, colors, anatomy, emotions. Then you'll be able to work it out. But in any case, if you're really stuck in your so-called art block, don't worry, just go back to do some simple drawings, something that you don't even need to think about. and then try to pick up the momentum from there. It happens to all of us actually. There's nothing new. Could you recommend some Copic substitutes? Yeah, sure. I'm using both Copic and this brush called the Shin Han Touch marker from Korea. So this is exactly the same as Copic. There's a brush tip on one hand, a flat tip on the other hand. Um, and I would say this is about 30 to 40% cheaper than Copic, and both are refillable. So if you want to, if you're working on a tighter budget, in fact, you're not even on a tight budget, you may want to try this out. This is really, really good. I use it together alongside with Copic, and that's no problem at all. So give it a shot. Why Copic? Why not color pencils? They are just two different medium. One is dry, one is wet. Copic give you a bit more of a watercolor look. The colors are a lot more solid than color pencil. It takes up less paper texture than color pencil. So there's no right or wrong. You just use different medium to achieve different result. Hello everyone. For those who just came in, welcome. If this is your first time watching my live stream, just say hello. Wow. So there are many first timers here. Cool. I mean, I don't stream often at all, so if you have not caught any of my live stream, it's understandable. I wonder how many of you are actually working on my Arttrober this year. What paper is this? This is a special paper I managed to get locally in Singapore. It's a paper meant for, I think, LaserJet printer. But somehow I stumbled upon it and I try ink and copy on it, and it works so well. This now has become my favorite paper to work with. Unfortunately, it's not available online or anywhere else outside Singapore, so you can't get it. Oh, thanks, Charlie, from Instagram. Yeah, thank you. What pen am I using? I'm using a Pentel art brush. So the brush look like this. Let me give you the new one, show you the new one. It looks like this. So this is a new one. Yeah, pretty standard Japanese brush pen. It's refillable, so once you run out of ink, you can always buy the refill and just pop it in. And the tips are really, really durable. So the brush tip lasts you for a very long time. I think I used this brush pen for maybe at least a few years. It's excellent investment if you like brush pen or you want to try brush pen. Did I delete my video from live stream? No, I don't. Because I'm streaming on multiple platforms. So now I'm streaming on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So they are all recorded, at least um, on YouTube. So you can always come back and check out the video even if you miss it. What does say Naruto on top? Oh yeah, I think I kind of forget to rename the stream. Sorry about that. Yeah, haven't been streaming for a long time. Forgot to edit the title. My apology. But no, this is not from Naruto. This is a character from The World Ends With You. It's a game character. The game is by Square Enix. Yeah, this is not Naruto. Sorry. Any warmer exercise to get good at the line quality of the brush pen? No, you just need to keep using it. I mean, I don't even warm up when I draw. I think I'm pretty warmed up every day. I've been drawing so much, both traditionally and digitally, commercially, and when I teach my students. So I'm always ready to draw. You can find my videos in live stream. Yes, I've already deleted the account. I realized that I don't stream on the livestream.com anymore. And I've been paying subscription every month for $50 a month, but never use it. So after 2 years of paying it for nothing, I decided to just close it. But you still can find quite a lot of my time-lapse video from those days on my YouTube channel. And I do feel that those videos are too old. It's no longer relevant to what I can do currently. Thank you. Thank you. Please try to go live often. I will try, at least for this month, because of the October. I think I will stream a few times. Most YouTubers will tell you, remember to subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell next to it so that you won't miss any of my live stream. That's what I usually say. She has a flip phone. Yeah, it's a pretty old game. So they were using flip phone back then when they first released the game. You realize that some areas I try to leave it white. Even her hair is pretty dark. She's a red hair. I still leave quite a bit of the white here. Because all this white eventually will be covered by the gray brush pen that I'm going to use later on. And then on top, that I'll be overlaying it with Copics. So when I leave the white, I've already accounted for what are the colors I'm going to place on top of it. So eventually, so for now, some of the areas look really, really like contrasty, but it won't be later on when I add all the colors on top of it. In my opinion, what makes a good illustration is there one aspect of the picture making that you would put it above others? Well, really depends. But I always think that besides the technical bit of it, that means it should be drawn well. That's of course that to me that's essential visually speaking. But when it comes to character art, I think the narrative and elements, at least to show the personality of the characters, even though you may not know this character, but when you look at it, oh yeah, this character looks like it's a cheerful person or something that you can relate to. So the body language, the little hand gesture, those will make a lot of impact to the entire image. Of course, if you've joined something that's more popular, then that's easier. You try to portray that. I mean, for me, when I draw a fan art piece, not only I try to be faithful to the character, that means I try to portray the character how they are being designed. On top of that, I also want to inject my personal aesthetics to that, so that when people like the character, not just because it's a popular character, it's also because of how I draw it. So both at the same time. All right, that's pretty much for the brush pen. How should we know when to use thick and thin lines? Yep, those I a few ways to look at it when it comes to line weight. The first thing is based on the lighting information. So the dark area, which we consider the AO area, the ambient occlusion area, or the area that's receding from the light, yeah, they tend to have a darker line. You need to understand that in reality, there's no line. So line is something the artist created to portray volume in two-dimensional space, like a paper. So I use thick line for areas that I think there's more ambient occlusions. And also use thicker line for the boundary of a section. For example, the hair boundary, the shape boundary, those I will use thicker line to define it. Then I'll use some thin line, like say for example, that's what I'm using now, to put some thin line within the hair. Those are more transitional lines. Those lines are to help with the flow, increase a bit of the fidelity of the image. So those are not to define the boundary, but those help with the flow. So I'll use thinner line for that. I mean, you don't need to do this, but personally, my style, I like to do a little bit of that to give a bit better fidelity. So it's like high res kind of idea. Hello to the Twitch audience. Thank you for watching. Waiting for the eyes. Yeah, I always like to save the eyes last, you know. Always save the best for last. How many of you like to eat your ice cream? I mean the cone ice cream, finish ice cream and then save the cone for the last. If you do, that's why I like to leave the ice to the last part. Same reason. You eat the cone first. Well done. Well done. Eat the cone before the ice cream. Sounds messy to me. Please say hi. Yeah, hi, PJ. Does that mean that Senpai has noticed you? What artist inspired me the most? Well, that's not really one or two artists that inspire me. I think generally games, comic, manga, toys. Those are my source of inspiration. Okay, I think I'm quite done for the ink now. Okay, so I'm going to take a short break and then we'll come back and continue. So meanwhile, go and grab some snacks and grab a drink and chill, go for a toilet break. I'll see you really soon. So, and when I come back, I would like to answer a few questions before I carry on. All right, so see you later. All right, so I'm back. Seems like somebody was asking about the paper. If you're in Singapore, yeah, you can get it. Let me show you how it looks like. So this is the paper I'm using. The brand of the paper is called AE Zone. The remember get the green label, which is the thickest version of it. So it's a 250 gram A4 size. All right, so if you're in Singapore, you can get this. It's about $8 for 25 sheets. Pretty good deal. All right, let's carry on. Let me erase some construction lines. I don't like to erase everything. I like to leave some pencil marks on it, make it look more traditional, you know. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to use some gray brush pen to add some value to it. How are those paper different from the normal paper? I don't know. Seems like it's being treated on the surface, so it takes the ink really well. And even when you erase it, it doesn't break the paper easily. So I'm using a gray brush pen, and the brush pen is the same brand as the black one from Pentel, but this is a gray ink. So I use this to overlay some areas to give some mid-tone to it. So later on when I overlay that with Copic, I don't need to use different brightness of the Copic in order to achieve some volume. So the gray will serve as an undertone. And this is especially convenient for conventions, which I don't need to bring my full set of Copic over. Acham, will you do more speed paint like before? Yeah, I would love to. Actually, I do a lot of speed paint with my students when I teach. I shall upload more of those videos online. Cheating, but brilliant. Cheating? Really? I guess it's being smart, isn't it? I think there's still more white than I want it to be. So the contrast is still pretty high, but that's because I haven't overlaid the Copic on top of it. What's that I'm using? I'm using a gray brush pen from Pentel. Is that Copic? No, not yet. It's not Copic yet. I guess some people will call this the toning process. Like screen tone, well, you can say that. Just give a little bit of a mid value to it. So I don't need to use so much of the Copic with different value in order to get the tone that I want. And more importantly, it serves as a uniform undertone. So regardless of what color it is on different part of the image, there's always this consistent gray undertone. So you bring the image together a lot better. That's what I think. Do I do oil canvas painting? No, not really. I find that really messy. I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, the oil paintings are really awesome to look at. I just find it takes too much time for the paint to dry. And usually I don't have the kind of patience. I might think of doing a master class. Not at the moment. I already have a school to run. So most of my non-commercial time is dedicated to my teaching. I mean, I usually do panels and tutorial class or master class at conventions. I have no idea when can I go back for conventions. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really don't have any online teaching or classes at this point. The only thing that I can give you for now is really live stream and YouTube videos. I know it's not ideal, but that's all I can afford to for now. So really apologize for that. Yep, the pen I'm using is Pentel Art Brush. So let me say again, it's Pentel Art Brush. How does this pen work? Yeah, this pen is actually come with the gray ink. And then once you use up, you can pop a new cartridge on it. Yep. If you find that the pen is too wet, sometimes also the usage of the paper. That means the kind of paper that you use. Some paper absorb a lot of ink, and if you keep stacking the strokes, sometimes it will make the paper look too moist and start to break. So you need to be really careful with that. So with the ink inside ends, I will just get a new cartridge. Let's say for this spray pen, you can buy a new cartridge and then just swap it in. That's it. Yeah, it has a lot of ink, so it will last for quite a while. Thank you everyone. Is it better to learn anatomy from the inside out or outside in? To me, I always teach from the inside out. So you understand the bone structure and then the muscles and then the skin. And then we talk about body language, poses, perspective. Yeah, so from the inside out. Yeah, the lighting is generally coming from the left side. Mm. When it comes to traditional art, a quick drawing like this, it's not as critical to make everything that look correct. Sometimes you also need to take some creative liberty to push some of the area out or bring some of the area in. Once the gray is added, you can see that it pop a lot more. Do I still use Corel Painter for digital? Yes, I do, alongside with my Photoshop. So I still use both. All right, that should be quite enough for the gray. How to stop using references? I'm surprised of how do you know exactly the light source? Well, the reason why I can sort of estimate the light source because I've used a lot of references in the past. Using reference is not a bad thing, so don't have this like wrong idea that all professional artists don't use references, which is totally wrong. The reason why some of them or some of us manage to paint something or draw something without looking at the photos because or live reference because we've seen enough. So those references are stored in our head, in our mental library. That's why you can use it. So don't feel bad when you need to use reference to learn, but try to understand the reference rather than just replicating the reference. I think that's really, really important so that you don't get enslaved by by the references, but you're actually writing on it and make use of it. So once you see enough, draw enough, then yeah, you can use less of those. Yeah, the ink can be quite scary if you use this for the very first time. So do a little test. Try out with a small piece. Don't try to draw a full piece with the new medium. Learn the behavior of the material before you commit to a full piece. Okay, now for me to add some colors. Let me check the reference, make sure that it's correct. I'm just thinking whether I should make it more colorful or make it more muted, like the in-game style. I think I'll go with something more muted. Provided I have enough of those colors. So you can see that once I overlay the Copic on it, the contrast is reduced, but the underlying gray is still showing. They give a very nice illusion of volume. You're welcome. I'm talking to Archives, yeah, from YouTube. Which color for skin? That depends, Sometimes I like to use just warm gray for skin. Sometimes I use more colorful skin tone. Depends on the look that I'm after. Usually when I'm drawing something more gritty, or for example, if I draw most of the superhero pieces that I drew, I use warm gray for the skin. But for something more anime game like or more casual, like this piece, I may use a more brighter skin tone rather than just warm gray. The challenge is that when you use very saturated colors, the colors start to pull away from each other, and that would become harder for you to blend them together. I mean, fortunately, I do have the gray tone underneath to help me with that. If you do not, then yeah, it will take a while for you to make everything looks cohesive. Yeah, so I will make a more muted version of this that match more of the retro theme of the character. Oh, just one thing for those of you who are not familiar with using Copics, there's one advice I would like to give you is that when you open up the Copic, try not to pull it out this way. Try not to pull it out like a katana. The chance of the ink spill on top of your artwork is really, really high. So instead of pull it out, just rotate it this way. So just rotate it and open. And if you're really afraid of messing things up, just rotate it away from your artwork. Do I use white ink pen for some of the detail? Yes, I do. So I use Posca. That's what you said. So this is a Posca pen. Oh, this way. Yeah. So I do use that for white highlight. So when I put them specular reflection on the eyes, those will be used. I will use the Posca. And sometimes we'll need to cover a bigger area, uh, like bigger area of white. Then I will use gouache. So this called gouache, designer gouache. It's called permanent white. So I'll use that alongside with a water brush pen so that I can paint some lighter white on it, as in not opaque but translucent white on some areas if I need to. So I use both. Oh, some ask if you see you use the paint a few times on certain area. Yeah, so Copic, right? When you brush it for the first time, it'll give you a certain tone, and if you overlay another stroke on it, it will get slightly darker. But you cannot do that too often, otherwise the paper will break. So I use that as a way to make some darker value of the same tone, of the same hue. uh, in a very slight manner so that you can see that the chest area, the underneath has a bit of the darker shade with the same Copic. That's to imply a bit of the volume. Do I prefer drawing traditionally or digital? I like both. They are fun. Both are really fun. It looks a little light. Let's see if we can find something darker. And also remember that once Copic dries up, it'll go one tone lighter than the wet version of it. So do remember the number when you paint. Don't just go with the visual of the value. Remember that, for example, if this is being by using a warm gray 6 for this, make sure that you continue to use warm gray 6 for this area, for other areas that share the same local color. Do I use colorless blender? No, I don't, because the blender doesn't blend. That's the thing. Although it's called blender, it doesn't. In fact, the colorless blender is really interesting to use for special effects. For example, let's say I'm going to brush some dark value here. Yeah. After that, I'll use the colorless blender right here. I just put some marks here. You see? It actually brighten up the dark value. So it's not really used to blend, but you want to use, for example, you want to make checkered pattern. That may work. So that's why I use the colorless blender, not to blend, but to create some special effects. Is it marker pen? It's a marker pen with the brush tip. Copic Sketch, Copic Chow, or Copic Classic. I use both Copic Sketch and Copic Classic. Uh, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Copic Sketch is when you have a brush tip and a flat tip. Uh, the Copic Chow is the same, just that it's a smaller size which hold lesser ink, but you can carry around easier because it's smaller in size. But the Copic Classic, which is this is the Copic Classic, which only have the hard tip, which is really really fine hard tip, which is good for fine line work, and also a very broad tip, which is bigger than the broad tip from the sketch version. So you want to cover a big area, this can be useful. And when you paint, try to follow the contour of the object. To understand that Copic is a hard brush, it's like Photoshop using a hard round brush or flat brush. There's no softness to it. So every stroke you have to put it in, it will leave a like brush mark to that. So might as well make use of that, and by paint alongside the contour or conform to the contour, so that the texture will make a lot more sense. I have to portray the volume of the object. Traditional versus digital. Well, each of its own strength. Um, I would say traditional and digital. There's no need to choose when you can use both, right? Does the copy ink shows? Yes, a little bit for those dark areas. Yeah, but you can see that the color did not bleed. Sometimes people like it bleed a little bit more to make it blend better, but I like it clean and solid. Hello, Warren. Okay, I will take another short break here. I'll come back and pick it up from here and finish up the piece, all right? So go have a toilet break, get a drink, get a snack. We'll be back soon. See you in 5. All right, so let's carry on and wrap this up. Okay, let's give her some skin tone. Oh no, forget to switch my camera. My bad. Yeah, sorry, forget to switch my screen. Man, getting old. I'm so glad that Instagram decided to extend the live stream time. It used to be 1 hour max, so I need to keep restarting my stream, but now I don't need to, which is cool. Which color for this? This particular version is from this Shinhan Touch marker. It's called Barely Beige. Barely beige. So the number is YR29. Yeah. I don't always use this skin tone. Really depends on the particular character and the style that I am after. As you can see that the Copic, when it's interacted with the gray or the black ink lines, there was no smudging or blending or yeah. So it's pretty cool. Traditional drawing look very satisfying. Yeah, right. I think so too. Now, sometimes people, some of the audience may have this perception that oh, you use digital, so it's all done automatically with one click of the button and everything is done. But traditional seems more legit. Seems like you really have to draw it out. Some people appreciate that. Yeah, of course I don't agree, but yeah, that's how many people actually think of it that way. Like, oh, digital is easy, which is not. Greeting from Indonesia. Hello. Do you think digital is harder? I think both are equally hard. But I do think the digital is more forgiving, mainly because you can undo and redo. So it's like time travel. And I don't know about you, I really like the smell of the Copic markers. I mean, I don't sniff it, mind you, but still, it smells nice. Do I use only one color for the skin tone? No, I actually use two. I use some darker, very desaturated one. This is from Copic. This is called Ash Rose. ash rose for some darker shade to push some of the value deeper. Yeah, I think that works really well. Some value to the white area so it doesn't look too flat. Mm. And lastly will be the eyes, brown eyes. Does it have a replay on YouTube? Yes, all these sessions are recorded. You can always go back to YouTube to look at the recording. What's the channel? The channel is Artgerm. I'm Artgerm everywhere. So you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere. It's called Artgerm. Pretty easy to remember. Huh? Yeah, whenever you're in doubt, just search Artgerm. If you want to know that if I have ever drawn your favorite character, just search Artgerm followed by the name of the character. You should be able to find it. How can we get a copy of this print? It's stunning. Thank you. Unfortunately, I don't sell print on my traditional sketch, but I will release a sketchbook that consists of all the pieces that I've done for this year's Inktober. I mean, October, sorry, not Inktober, October. So you can pick up when it's available. Should be around November this year. What's the most difficult character that I have drawn? Consider this year's Arttrober, I would say that Bao from Genshin Impact was pretty challenging. And next from NYX from Hades, that was quite challenging too, but it was really, really fun. I say challenging mainly due to the detail level. Yeah. All right, so the eyes are done. Now just need to give a little bit of a highlight to make it pop. Hmm, that's cool. Any new sketchbooks this year? Yes. So once I'm done with this month sketches, I'll compile them into a sketchbook like always. Then you can purchase it from an online shop, shipped internationally. Almost done. Can I show my face? Hello. Nobody cares about my face, unless if you're wondering if this is really a germ who's drawing. How many of you actually doing my Arttrober list this year? I've been seeing a lot of great entries for the past week. Yeah, the stream say Naruto at the top because I forgot to rename the stream. Sorry. It's not Naruto. It's better. Seems I smudged the eyes. Seems like no one can draw the same style as you do, sir. Well, that should be the case, isn't it? I can't draw your style either. It's yours. Almost done. Let's put a little bit of the graphic behind. Jem, how do you come up with the characters' names for this year's Arttrober? Well, my students. So I actually opened up the idea to my students and asked them to suggest to me some of the trending or popular characters. I'm an old guy, so I don't know a lot about what's in uh, currently. So I rely a lot more on the intel from my students. So they really help a lot. And of course, it have to be something that I enjoy drawing as well. So after they suggested some, I put in some of my personal preference. So that's how we come up with the list. How does your characters have the similar aesthetic without all looking the same? Really? I thought people think that all my characters look the same. Well, to be honest, it's really about uniformity with diversity. So you need to find what you like, your personal aesthetic of faces. When you portray a young girl, a mature person, a strong character, how would you draw them? But still something that look appealing to you. So that's your personal aesthetics. But within it, you try to bring different variation to that. So just like any artist, your work will look similar in a sense that because that's your personal aesthetic, a personal taste. But within that, you can also find some variation to make the artworks look more interesting. Okay, just some final touches, and then we are done here. Do you have any advice on how to study the right way? What do you want to study? I'll try to take some time to answer some questions. So if you do have some question, feel free to ask. before we wrap up today's stream. Like gesture and anatomy poses. Yeah, so before you actually think about poses, you need to think about the what make the poses. So you need to understand the anatomy from inside out first. So once you understand the proportion, the muscles and stuff, then you can put the character into different poses. One of the pretty effective way, at least from my opinion, to learn about poses is to look at videos. You can look at dancing videos, fighting videos, action videos, and and pause the video and go frame by frame. Let's say, for example, a dancing video of K-pop dancing. So you can see that a bunch of girls dancing, and they will transit from one pose to another pose. So that's always so-called the impact point of the pose. Impact point means like the the final action of the pose, the most impactful part. Then you will transit to the next impact pose. So you can actually look at videos on YouTube and pause the video, go frame by frame, and understand how they transit from one pose to another pose, and then try to draw it. So you pause it and then draw the pose that you think that's the most powerful, and then switch to the next one. And you do it regularly. Maybe use it as a warm-up exercise for yourself. That's how you learn. Yeah, when it comes to drawing clothes, it's very different things. You need to understand the materials. Um, for example, there are a few attributes you need to think about when it comes to drawing clothes. For example, the thickness, the elasticity, the weight uh, of the fabric, and then the cutting of the fabric. That means how it's being sewn together and then draped on top of the body. So all this need to be considered because those things will affect the look of the fabric, the folds, how big the folds will be. For example, the thicker the fabric, the folds are thicker and more gentle, or or bigger in terms of size. So those things need to be considered. When you have a fabric that is more elastic, like those like sportswear, then the fabric will conform to the body more, and you'll see fewer folds at those tension areas. How long does it take for you to master anatomy? I don't think I have mastered anatomy. I'm still learning every day, but I think I draw better every time. So it's really a matter of practice. It's about clocking your mileage. Try to invest your time to top up your mileage as much as you can. Just like anything else, it's not just about art. Any other craft or skills that require you to master, whether it's singing, cooking, or sports, it all takes time to and experience to make it work. I mean, I can tell you exactly the theory of everything, but I can even demonstrate to you how to do certain things. But doesn't mean that once you look at it, you can start doing it. You still take time for your brain to understand, for your knowledge to be integrated and absorbed and digested. So those are important. That's why we call it experience. Can you please say my name? All right, I'll try. Jessup draws. I hope I didn't say it wrongly. Jessup draws. Who's my favorite DC superhero? I would say number one is Supergirl, followed by Catwoman, and then Harley Quinn. Pretty boring, huh? All right, I think that will be the end of today's live stream. Really thank you for watching it and hope that you learn something useful or at least get entertained. All right, so I hope to do more live stream with you at least this month during October, and I thank all of you who actually take part in my October, and really happy to see all of your entries. So, meanwhile, please take care and stay safe. I will see you next time. All right, so have a good day and a good night. Bye bye, everyone.